Hello, hello, this is Joe from Nerd and Korea. We are continuing our budget Kindred series. This time we're looking at goblins, so we're starting a whole new one here. As usual, our first video, we're going to do the kind of goblins that can go into any deck, right? Some of these are very specific to the tactics of goblins or things like that. We're not looking at those ones. We are looking at... Now there's a bird outside making much noise. Oh, fun. Anyway, we're looking at ones that actually have a lot more broad usefulness. You can kind of throw these into a lot of decks and they'll do a lot of work. Anyway. So what do I mean by budget? So as usual, $2 or less, and I'm looking at the TCG market value. They are not a sponsor. Occasionally I go a little over, but it's because the card's value is lower. Like you can buy the card lower than $2, but the market value is maybe just above. Okay, goblins. What about goblins? They are one of the oldest creature types in Magic. I think they've been there since day one. So we've covered elementals and rats as well, and I think all of them are very old kind of kindred groups. I don't know what to call them anymore. Anyway, their main color is red. Main strategies, token, damage, and sacrifice. Right, very red. I look at them like rats are kind of the most black group or kindred, and then elves are the most green. I think goblins are the most red, because their tactics are very focused on like red strategies. Anyway, I'll be doing a video on each of these strategies. Actually, two on damage, okay? There's combat damage and direct damage. Both red really enjoys doing. We'll have one on each of those. And honorable mentions, okay? All of these cards are under 50 cents, but they're very well-known cards. I want to mostly do ones that are maybe a little more unpredictable. Okay, so each spell you cast that's red, Goblin, I won't read it all. Goblin Anarchromancer, Enthusiastic Mechanaut. Again, this is all reducing spell costs for red or green spells for the first one, for artifacts for the second, and for instants or sorcery for the third. Anyway, Goblin Electromancer is the last one. Yeah. Everyone's probably seen these before, so I'm not going to focus on them a whole lot. But yeah, very useful cards in a lot of different decks. Okay, first up is Brash Taunter at 50 cents. This is a very well-known one. I only put it in 5th spot because I think everyone knows this card. The reason why I included it is because the price came way down on it. This used to be like a $5 or more card. I think it was above 10 at one point. I know, I got one of them and I got really excited because it was worth a bunch, and then, of course, it dropped like a rock. Anyway, it's indestructible, and whenever damage is dealt to it, it does that much to an opponent. In Commander, that's very, very useful because you can say, hey, attack me with that big thing. I'll block it with a Brash Taunter, and then I'll just do the damage to that guy over there. And yeah, you can just get kind of other players racking up damage without fear of their creature getting killed. So you can kind of do a teamwork against one player thing that can be very, very effective. Anyway, 50 cents. 50 cents now. Bloodmark Mentor. Okay, this is my one that's above the limit, but I feel like you can find it under $2, so cheating but not quite cheating my rule. So, Bloodmark Mentor gives all red creatures first strike. Red is a very aggressive color, especially if you're pairing it with like green. If you want to do a Gruul deck, this is a great card to have. Remember, if a creature is red and green, or red and any other color, it still counts as a red card. So as long as red is in the creature's color identity, you can give it first strike with this, okay? It doesn't have to be mono red or anything like that. First strike is really good, okay? Again, it's very easy to even like lure people in with a block, and then you suddenly increase the damage, and so their creature dies first and yours survives, right? There's a lot of usefulness there. It is right up there with double strike, and double strike is better, but marginally, right? Double strike has first strike. That's kind of what it adds. Anyway, 215. Okay, Wart the Raid Mother. Yeah, not Red Mother. Okay. ETB, it creates 2 1/1 red and green goblins. This is actually very important for her, that they're red and green. And it gives Conspire to all your instants and sorceries. Okay, so Conspire means that if you tap 2 creatures that share a color with that instant or sorcery, you copy it. So she can just make a whole bunch of copies very easily, and she even makes the tokens you need to do the copying. Oh wow, yeah, absolutely crazy. I'm pretty sure you can do it on the first turn as well. You don't have to give them like haste or anything, because you're tapping them. They are not tapping, you are tapping them. The effect is tapping them, not them tapping themselves to do something, right? It's not like an activated ability, so yeah, that's kind of the loophole where you don't need haste. But anyway, or the Summoning Sickness loophole, that's what I was talking about. Anywho, very useful if you've got red and green. Even, you know, red, green, some tokens, throw this in. This is going to, when it does go off, it's going to make a big difference. I don't think your deck has to be focused on instants and sorceries to get some real value out of this. Anyway, 17 cents only. Bolt Bender. Okay, so this one, I think at first you look at and you're like, it's okay. It's actually much more than okay. Okay, so it has Disguise. So you can pay 3 and put it face down is the first thing. And then when it's turned face up, you may choose new targets for any number of spells and or abilities. Okay? So again, if someone's doing like copying or activating a whole bunch of things at one time, you can change the targets for all of them at the same time. Alright? If there's a big stack of actions, you can redirect everything with this one ability. Okay? Just crazy. Again, to cast them for its disguise cost, it only costs 1 in a red instead of, like, it costs you 3 to put them down, face down, and then 1 in a red to flip them over. So it's really, I think it's better than most counterspells. Counterspells will deal with like board wipes and things like that. This does not. If it's not targeted, this won't help. But yeah, this will actually, especially spells and abilities, any number. Okay, those are the really important parts right there. There's a lot of different spells where you can redirect like one thing, maybe, or you know, something like that. This is redirecting everything. You just choose. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to all be targeting the same creature. There's a lot of things that are like a spell targeting this creature is redirected. No, it's just all the spells. So if they're being cast at you or your creature or whatever, you can redirect all of them. It's very easy to turn something like a copied effect, for instance, maybe that's killing a bunch, it's supposed to kill a bunch of your stuff, and you turn this over and say, no, now it's killing your stuff, actually. Oh, just a mean card for 15 cents. Okay, my number 1 here is Goblin Dark Dwellers. The ETB is definitely the interesting thing. It is 3 and 2 red, so it's not cheap. But it's a 4/4 with Menace. Not bad for 5. Not great, but you know, not bad. Anyway, when this enters the battlefield, you can cast instant or sorcery in your graveyard with mana value 3 or less for free, and then you exile it. This will very quickly, especially if you can flicker it, right? Take it off the battlefield, put it back down, take it off, put it back down. Just keep recasting things from your graveyard over and over and over. The reason I think this is number 1 on this list is because people do not expect that, right? With, like if you have an Anala deck or something, yeah, they'll expect it. When you have, like, even if you have a Gruul deck, they don't see this coming, right? This is not graveyard recursion of, like, spells for free. People aren't going to expect that. And actually, I gotta order this card now that I'm talking about it anyway. But yeah, this is not something a lot of red cards usually do. The graveyard recursion for instants of sorceries, I think it's more of a blue thing. So yeah, it's very good in that you're adding something that, a mechanic that maybe is difficult with this color usually. So 9 cents, 9 whole cents. Oh, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps out. The List. Brash Taunter, 50 cents. Get it now? The fact that it's even fallen to 50 cents blows my mind. Bloodmark Mentor. Again, you can find it under $2. Wort the Raid Mother, 17 cents. Undervalued. Very undervalued. Volt Bender, 15 cents. If you pull that off, it is going to be hilarious, okay? No one is going to expect you to be like, oh, you know, I've got this red deck, and now, yeah. By the way, I've got like a Counterspell Plus in there. Okay. Anyway, Goblin Dark Dwellers, 9 cents. Once again, I think it's very easy to look at that and say, it's not that great. But what it does is just not usually a red thing. I think that's what really stands out to me. Anyway, alright, thank you, and take it easy.